Imagine a tree so ancient, it's lived through the rise and fall of empires, the shifting of continents, and the slow, silent march of climate change. But it's not just any tree. It's growing in the frozen tundra, where time moves at a glacial pace. This tree, like all trees, keeps time in its rings. But here, the rings are not just a record of years. They're a story of survival, adaptation, and the hidden rhythms of a world where life is measured in millennia. But how does a tree in the tundra, where the ground is frozen and the sun barely touches the earth, manage to grow at all? And how can its rings tell us anything about the past, let alone the future? Today, we're going to uncover the secrets hidden in these towering tundra trees and discover how their rings can reveal not just the passage of time, but the very history of our planet. So what exactly are we talking about? Let's start with the obvious. Trees, but not the kind you see in a forest. These are trees that live in the tundra, where the sun barely touches the ground and the air is so cold it can freeze your breath. These trees are called dwarf birches, and they're built to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Their trunks are short, their branches are sparse, and their bark is thick and tough, like a natural suit of armor against the elements. And just like a tree in a forest, each ring tells a story. Thicker rings mean a year of abundance, lots of rain, warmth, and growth. Thinner rings suggest a harsher year, maybe drought, cold, or even a snowstorm that almost killed the tree. So when scientists study these rings, they're not just looking at wood. They're decoding the climate, the weather, and even the history of the tundra itself, one ring at a time. It's like reading a book written by the tree, a book that's been waiting thousands of years to be understood. And now, thanks to these rings, we're finally hearing its story. Ever wondered how ancient trees know when to grow? They don't have calendars, but their rings do. Each ring is a fingerprint of time, whispering secrets about the climate and seasons that shaped them. These rings aren't just cool, they're a way to read the past. Scientists use them to build timelines that stretch back thousands of years, like nature's own clock, built one ring at a time. By studying these rings, we can track climate shifts, droughts, and even volcanic eruptions. It's like having a living record of Earth's history, written in wood. And here's the kicker. These trees can help us predict the future. If we know how trees responded to past climate changes, we can better understand what might happen next. So next time you see a tree, remember, it's not just a plant. It's a time traveler, a climate detective, and a keeper of Earth's memory. And you're part of the story. So here's the thing. These tree rings don't just mark the years. They mark the very moments when the world changed. Every ring is a snapshot of a year, but some years are thicker, some are thinner, and some are completely absent. Think of it like a diary written in wood. Imagine looking at a 10,000-year-old tree and seeing a record of every storm, every drought, every fire that shaped the tundra. This isn't just about age. It's about the story of the planet itself, written in rings. And here's where it gets even cooler. Some of these rings are so old, they were formed when humans were just starting to walk the earth. These trees have outlived empires, wars, and even the dinosaurs. They've been around for longer than our species has been in existence. So when we look at these tree rings, we're not just looking at wood. We're looking at time itself. These trees have become silent witnesses to the planet's long, slow transformation. And they're still telling us their story, one ring at a time. Imagine a tree that's been standing for thousands of years, like a really old friend who remembers everything. When you cut it down, you can see little rings inside, like a birthday cake. But these rings tell the tree's whole life story. Each ring is like a year the tree lived, and scientists can use them to count how old the tree is, just like counting cake candles. But some trees live so long, their rings can help us know what the world was like thousands of years ago. like a time machine made of wood. So when we study these tree rings, we're not just learning about trees, we're learning about time itself. So where do we even begin? We start with the tundra itself, a place where the cold is so intense that it keeps the ground frozen year-round. It's a world that's been shaped by time, and the trees that grow there are living records of that history. These trees aren't just tough, they're survivors. They grow slowly, layer by layer, each ring capturing a year of life. But how do we even find them? They're hidden under the snow, buried in the permafrost, waiting to be discovered. Once found, the first step is to carefully expose the tree. We use tools to carefully remove the snow and soil, revealing the layers of bark and the delicate concentric rings that tell the story of the tree's life. But we don't just stop there. We take detailed measurements and photographs to document the tree's condition and the structure of the rings. This helps us understand how the environment has changed over time. And finally, we prepare the tree for further analysis. Sometimes that means slicing it open, like a time capsule, to study the rings in detail. Other times, we leave it in place, knowing it's a natural archive waiting to be read. Now, the tree rings themselves act like a clock, with each ring representing a year of growth. The width of each ring tells us how much the tree grew during that season. In the tundra, where summers are short and winters are long, trees grow slowly. This means the rings are narrow, but each one is a precise record of time. By measuring the width of each ring, scientists can tell exactly how old the tree is. But it's not just about age. It's about the story the tree lived through. Each ring is a snapshot of a year. Wider rings mean more sunlight and water, while narrower rings suggest a harsher season, like a drought or a cold snap. These rings are like a diary. They tell us not just how old the tree is, but what the climate was like when it lived, and how it survived. Now, here's the clever twist. Instead of looking at the tree itself, they examine the growth rings in the peat. Each ring represents a year, and by studying the patterns, they can pinpoint when the tree lived and died. But wait, how do they know which tree ring belongs to which tree? That's where the magic of sediment layers comes in. Each layer in the peat tells a story about the environment, helping scientists match the rings to the right time period. By comparing the tree rings to other records, like ice cores or historical events, they can even figure out when a tree was cut down, or how the climate changed over time. It's like reading a book written in nature. So, these tree rings aren't just circles, they're time capsules. Each one holds a piece of the past, waiting to be unlocked by the right tools and the right questions. You might be wondering, how do tree rings actually track time? Well, it's all about how trees grow in response to their environment. Each ring represents 1 year of growth, with the lighter part formed in spring and the darker part in fall. It's like a tree's own calendar. But it's not just about counting. These rings can tell us about climate, drought, and even volcanic eruptions. Because trees remember. Scientists use a technique called dendrochronology, which is like reading the tree's life story through its rings, layer by layer. And because these trees live so long, they can provide a timeline that stretches back thousands of years, giving us a window into the past. So here's the thing. Tree rings are like the diary of a tree. Each ring is a page, and the year is the date. It's a way of writing time in nature without ever needing the calendar. Now imagine if, instead of a tree, you had a cake. Each layer is a year, and every birthday you add a new layer. It's simple, but it gets the point across. This analogy is dumb. Yes, but it's also accurate. It's a way to make something complicated feel familiar, like a metaphor that helps you grasp the concept. So maybe it's not the most elegant way to explain time in trees, but it's a solid way to remember that tree rings are a kind of natural clock. In the end, the tree rings are the real thing, and the cake is just a clever way to help us see it. It's a reminder that sometimes the dumbest analogy is the best one. Before you go, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell us in the comments what you'd like us to make next. We read every single one. Thank you so much for watching. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.